Just to wrap up for the City Council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids for Monday, May 11th. Just a couple of things. It was a very short council meeting tonight other than a public hearing. Once again, we had a public hearing, but just a couple of things on our consent agenda. If you've been through downtown Grand Rapids, you've noticed that the two buildings that had a fire, the VFW and the Rose building that had directional drilling, those buildings have been torn down. Thanks to, in part to a development grant from Iron Range Resources of almost $87,000 to help with the demo costs there. And we look forward over the course of the summer and fall, whatever that would take for the VFW and Rose to make a decision on if they're going to build in place on that existing property. Also, nice to be able to announce that Lisa Flaherty, our accounting technician, accounts payable, has rescinded at this time her choice to retire, and she's not going to be leaving us for a while, so we welcome Lisa back. She's a great employee, and it's going to be nice to have her here for a while. As I said, we had a public hearing tonight. Unique Opportunities out of Fergus Falls, Minnesota has been looking at Grand Rapids for over a year as a place to develop a housing complex. So they came in, and in order to do it, one of the things that they needed was some TIF funding in order to bridge that gap on financing that was necessary to do almost a $5 million project. So once again, I remind you that TIF funding is the but for some TIF funding that would not be in here doing that project. So they are going to get about $370,000 of TIF funding. And the unique and the great part about that is it fills a housing need, both on the income-based part of it and on market rate. So 10 units will be income-based, and then 38 units will be market rate housing. It meets an obligation that we continue to try to fill as a city of providing housing opportunities to meet that study that was done in 2019 of where we are from a housing standpoint and a needs assessment for units in Grand Rapids. They will be starting construction this fall and hopefully having it done by spring to late summer of next year, 2021. So thank you to Unique Opportunities out of Fergus Falls, Minnesota, for choosing Grand Rapids. This is the first project in the northern part of the state that they have chosen, and they chose Grand Rapids for all of the good quality things that we have, from education to business opportunities to health care facilities that we have, along with the other social amenities, the Rife, and some of the other things that we offer up in Grand Rapids. So once again, thanks to them for coming in. As we try to recognize the frontline people out there who are addressing this COVID-19, hospital workers, firefighters, policemen, any of those out there that are volunteers helping with them, even the mask makers that have been making masks in droves to help people if they do not have masks, to be able to go and have the security of knowing that they can go into a building. If they have nothing else, they can stop and they can get a mask someplace that they can wear. That's a great opportunity. So those folks as well. So the Air Force and the Air National Guard are going to be conducting a flyover of Grand Rapids to recognize them, and it's going to be this Wednesday, the 13th. And it'll be between 11:45 and noon. So if it's a nice, bright, sunny day and you want to see a nice flyover, recognizes those frontline workers, get out, look up into the skies between 11:15 and noon, and hopefully they're right on time and you'll get to see that flyover. A couple of other things I just wanted to touch on. We recognized Anne Marie Meany Huntley, who passed away on April 28th. Anne was a resident of Grand Rapids for quite some time, and she was also on the Grand Rapids City Council in the late 80s, early 90s. So for those of you that knew her, we are sad to see her passing, but we are also wanting to recognize her contributions to the city of Grand Rapids while she was a resident of Grand Rapids. Then the last thing I wanted to touch on, we've talked with, and I've fielded many phone calls, well, I shouldn't say many, but there's a number of phone calls as it relates to our city parks. And I just want people to know that our 24 city parks are open, along with 104 miles of trails and sidewalks. We are following some state declarations, some CDC, and some sports association recommendations as it relates to some of the amenities at the park. So you see playground equipment there. We're recommending that you don't use it, but it doesn't mean that you can't. It's just a city recommendation that you don't. We are not putting toilets and stuff out at this point in time, nor are we having picnic tables out there, but those parks are open. If you want to go to a park and enjoy the park and play in the park, please do so. And we hope that you enjoy it and have a good time. Our sympathies do go out to 41 people who've been diagnosed with COVID and the 2 family members in the area who have passed away. So it's not the end of it, but hopefully we will work through it. There's no one looking out there more optimistically than my wife and I about getting out and being able to enjoy the opportunity to go to a restaurant, go to a movie, go to a performance at the Rife, go to a sporting event, you name it, getting back to church. It'd be nice to be able to get back to our local church and see some of our church family members. So we're all looking forward to the time that restrictions will be eased up. And I would just like to leave you with this. Pay attention to Thursday. Governor Walz is going to be making an announcement, and hopefully we will see that there is some easing up of the restrictions out there as recommended by the governor of Minnesota that would take effect the following Monday. So I believe that is the 18th of May. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that things are going well enough across the state that they see fit to ease some of those restrictions and we can all get out and do a little more socializing, still keeping that distance, but being able to get out and do some of the things that we've been accustomed and grown so used to that we take for granted a lot of times. Just the idea of being able to walk into a restaurant and sit down and get served has been 2 months in the making for a lot of us. I'm finding that I am turning into, I wouldn't call myself a great chef, but I'm certainly, with my wife's coaching, learning to help with the cooking around the house. So please get out. We are going to have some warmer days coming up starting, I think, Thursday or Friday. Get out and enjoy the sun and the weather. It's been a cold spring. Hope all the mothers out there had a nice Mother's Day. We encourage you to do some public activities and stuff to try and maintain that health. So with that, we look forward to see everyone once again in 2 weeks for our next council meeting. Thanks and have a good evening.